Hello there. Good day to you all. Good Friday to you all. I hope that you guys are looking forward to your weekend. I can't believe it's Friday. Yay. Yes. What are you doing this weekend? Do you have any plans? Do you have anything that you want to do? I can tell you what I want to do, but I know that I'm not going to do it, and that's go sit at the beach for about 4 or 5 hours. I need to get rest. I need to get some sleep, and I have some chores that I need to do, and it is what it is. What I want to share with you today is something really different than what I normally do. My husband and I, we were just talking, and we were just like feeling so nostalgic, just remembering some of the good things that we experienced in our childhood. Wasn't a lot, okay? We had some rough times in our childhood, but we were remembering some of those things that trigger that ASMR effect, like the smell of library books, the peace and calm that we would feel when it was library time and we could go and explore the library in elementary school and pick books that we could take home. You know, I remember one of my favorites being Peter Rabbit, and then the one about the frogs, and just various books that I would bring home. I also remember the Scholastic book club where, like, you know, the teacher would give us this magazine for us to look through and pick books that we want, and our parents would pay for the books, and then like a couple of months later we would get the books, and oh, how exciting it was. You know, when you would go to your homeroom class and your teacher would say that the Scholastic books are in, and she would allow us time to look at our books and flip through them and share them with one another, and then after that we had to put our books away, and you know, our lesson would begin. I noticed that people love to do book reviews. I am not for doing book reviews because it's just not my thing, but for the sake of the nostalgia that is in the air at my house right now, I am going to share with you just a few things that stood out the most, that I still have in my collection, and see if you're familiar with it. Do you guys remember the Pilgrim's Progress? Let's start with the Pilgrim's Progress. All right, hold on. Let me get myself situated here. Okay, The Pilgrim's Progress is a Marvel comic book, and it's the Christian Classic series. And can you get it now? If you do, it would probably be at like a Book Nook, you know, a old bookstore that sells old books, you know, or maybe eBay or I doubt Poshmark, but maybe sell.com if they're still up and running, eBay, something like this. But this is a old comic book that I've managed to keep intact throughout the years. And it is called The Pilgrim's Progress, based on the book by John Bunyan. And I love it. And I'm just going to do a quick flip through just to share this with you. I enjoy sharing some things about myself with you guys. And look at the graphics. The graphics are phenomenal on here. And being a young child, you know, I wasn't that big on reading, and I never had anyone read to me. Let me see if I can turn on all right, there, that should be better. And I never had anyone read to me. I've never had anyone read me a bedtime story when I was a child. And I remember looking at the pictures and trying to figure out the story just by looking at the pictures. But it was so captivating to me as a child that I ended up forcing myself to read the words, because I was so captivated by this story. And I love the graphics on this. And I remember And I'm not going to give you the whole thing, but I remember at the end, the celestial city. And I remember all that he had to go through. And what scared me the most in this book was having to drown in the water in order to get to heaven. You know, I was scared to go down into the water, because that's a terrible way to die, drowning. You know, there was some other trials and tribulations that this young man had to go through before he made it to the celestial city. And I would remember being a little girl and imagining myself going through this and praying to God, you know, how would I survive this? I would be fooled. I would be tricked, you know. And I just remember that, you know, my granny, she's not my biological grandmother, but she was a lady who took very good care of me for a period of time. And I called her granny, and I love her to this day. And I have her ways, you know, and these are things that, you know, she brought to my attention, you know, of love and Jesus and caring and making sure that you're a positive light. The love of animals also, you know, even though she wasn't even really that much of an animal person. I mean, it was because of things that Granny taught me that, you know, I mean, I would anoint all of my pets with oil and pray over them, and, you know, always speak Jesus to them. I even put little crosses on their collars, you know, and when they would go to the vet or they would go to the beauty supply, the salon, the grooming center, whatever, PetSmart, people would always take notice of little crosses that my pets would wear, you know. So those are a lot of little things that I contribute to Granny. This one is also part of the Christian Classic series, and this one is called the Screw Tape Letters, and this is incredible. This book didn't scare me as a child, but what it did was it helped me to get some type of perspective as a young child on the ranking of the principalities that are above us in those heavenly realms, and, you know, how evil things can influence us, and how important it is to destroy mankind and to get mankind to do things that are wrong, and to keep mankind in a bad state of mind, you know. And the graphics are phenomenal. Now, this book I did not complete. I was a child, and I could not get myself to complete this book. And I would read these different things, and a lot of it just did not make sense to me. Right? So, yeah. I just wanted to share this with you guys to see if you have heard of this. You know, scenes like that would scare me, you know, because there was so much that I did not know and did not understand. But this is really about the demon world and you know, the war that goes on, and it's very interesting. And if you can find it, get it. But the number one to get would be the Pilgrim's Progress. I remember reading this book again, okay, years later, and I found a section in here that I felt was directly at me. There was a person that was in this book that was just like me. And I was like, oh, Lord, you know, if this is not good, then I need you to help me to not be this way, or help me to manage through this, or whatever. Now, this one was called In His Steps. I believe this is all of the Christian Classic series, that there was just these three. If there's another one, I think there is one more, and I didn't like it, and I gave it away. I'm almost certain of it, because it had a lady on the cover of it, and it was like horse and wagon times. I don't know, this might be that book. I don't know. I might be wrong. This might be that book. But this is In His Step. Here we go. Horse and wagon, right? This is that book. And this is about, you know, how we uppity Christians can be so nasty and cruel to someone. And it's pretty much the theme of, if you've given to the least of them, you've given unto me. So that's what this. So you have your rich, happy dappy Christians, and praise the Lord this and praise the Lord that. But then you have someone who walks into that church, you know, who needs help, who needs food, and you know, but you say that you love me, but yet you won't feed my sheep, you know. And you say that, you know, I mean, and like this would be a good example. Like you say, hey, Jesus, take the wheel, but yet you're going to be a shotgun driver. That don't work. You know, and that's what some of these Christians in this comic book were like. You know, they had Jesus, you know, in certain areas of their life, but it was really, really, really just a form of godliness and not really the true thing. So this was a pretty powerful comic book. I did not read all of it. I never did get the chance to read all of it. Maybe one day that I will, but this one I have read from page 1 to the very end, and I read it more than once. I've flipped through it more than once. This is the one that stood out with me the most. So I just thought I would share that with you. If you guys like comic books, if you like graphic novels, that's a great thing to just relax to with a nice cup of tea on a nice evening, or so forth and so on. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to share with you guys? Yeah, hold on, let me see what I got. All right, so you guys, you know, I have a bookshelf, and I'm not going to pull every single book down. So as you can see, there's some books there, and then there's some books there. So I'm not going, and oh, up there, I'm not going to pull down every single book, but a little bit at a time. Up there on that top shelf right there, those are books that I just felt like I just gotta have, whether I read them or not. If you've ever seen the movie Angela's Ashes, the gentleman that the story is about, Frankie, he wrote 2 books about his life. I think it's 2 or 3 books, and you know, it's really, really, it really, I don't know, it's just good of what people go through, you know, in life, and how they push forward and how they make it, and what it was like back in Ireland in those days. And then the other one is Fried Green Tomatoes, which I absolutely adored. We have Viola Davis, Maya Angelou, and we also have the Romanov Prophecy, which was a phenomenal book. I learned about the Romanov situation in history class when I was in high school, and it scared me how they were executed. So I had this, you know, obsession about learning about it, and watching videos about it, and reading books about it at a very young age. And then, yes, what you see up there is Rosemary's Baby and the son of Rosemary's Baby. Here is something crazy. This is my mind for you. I liked Rosemary's Baby, but when I read The Son of Rosemary's Baby, Part 2, I had concluded that God had caused her to have a dream. The whole movie, the whole book, Rosemary's Baby, was all a dream. And it was God warning her that if you choose to move into the brown, this is what is going to happen. Do not go. That was how I took it. I took it that God was telling her, and that he was trying to reach out to her, and he gave her the most incredible dream that anybody could ever have, you know, so it, you know, and her being in a coma all those years, and, you know, oh my gosh, it was a phenomenal book to me. And when I saw that the gentleman that had wrote the book, and I forgot his name that quick, had wrote a little message to Mia Farrow, and it was like he was telling her, I can't remember, I have to go look in the book, but it was like he was trying to let her know that God was real, you know. And I was like, hey, maybe, you know, hey, there's a little something going on here, you know. But anyway, enough of that. So do you guys remember this? Raggedy Ann and Andy and the musical adventure. This was a book that I got, that was gifted to me as a child, and I love it. I've got the movie, and I still got the book. But do you guys remember this? This was so joyful. The camel with the wrinkly knees, who would sing that song, and he would look up into heaven, and he would say that the camels were calling him to go home. And you know me, I looked at that as me wanting to go home and be with Jesus, and those are the camels that were waiting for him. And I used to sing that song that he would sing, because, you know, I remember, as you know, being a depressed child, and I remember singing that song that he sang, you know. Oh, I'm trying to think of it. I can't think of this song right now, but if you guys ever look at, I used to sing this song all the time with a real strong country accent. You know, when you're down on your luck and there's nobody to say, I love you. How can you be happy? How can you be smiling? You know, how can you be anything but low down, shaggy, and blue? Sad but true. Something like that. Hope I didn't bust your eardrums. But that was what it was. And all he wanted to do was to go home, to go like to heaven. So me being the child that I was, I looked at it that way, you know, and I wanted to go to heaven. So, do you guys remember Georgie? Oh my goodness. Come on now, you ladies. I know y'all remember the little Georgie ghost. He was the sweetest, friendliest, kindest little ghost. Oh my gosh. I love Georgie. If you guys ever look at my playlist, I have something called, I think it's called Bedtime Cookies. It's just little children's books, things that I was, you know, exposed to as a child. This actually came from the Scholastic Book Readers Club. There was the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow, and a record came with it. And I remember always being scared of the Headless Horseman, never realizing until I got older that it was Brom Bones the whole time. You know, so this was another book that I loved so much as a child. Do you remember this? I think I even did a flip through under my ASMR videos where I'm turning pages really loud. Some people like that. Spooky Tricks. I got this from the Scholastic Book Readers Club from elementary school. I used to do try to do as many of the tricks that were in this little book, and I loved it. It was so much fun. I remember Little Willie the Ghost and the X-ray eyes. Oh my gosh, I remember. Oh my Lord, these were so much fun. And these were books that I would take over to Granny's house, and I would read them with her. You know, read them with her, as, you know, her being there with me, you know, but very rarely did anybody read any books to me. The Haunted House, also same thing, and it came with a record, and I loved this. Love this. I actually have the audios on my cell phone, and I think that I also have them on my bedtime playlist. For Bedtime Cookies, I think I do, and I love this. How thin and sharp is the moon tonight? How thin and sharp and ghostly white is the slim curved crook of the moon tonight. I memorized the tone of the lady that said this. And I mean, I could go on, I could imitate a lot of these, because I used to listen to them so much. And the velvet ribbon that held her head together, and her husband made her take it off, and her head rolled into the floor. I think I did a video of that where I'm reading it for like a Halloween thing, but I thought this was so cute. I have a lot of these. I just brought out one, but I have a lot of these little golden comic digest books. I have Pink Panther. I have some spooky ones with Boris Karloff in it. Just a whole bunch of them. But I just went ahead and pulled this one out because this was one of the ones that I read the most. And I love this. I love this little comic book. And when I got old enough, like, I don't know, what, 10? I don't know, where I was allowed to carry a little purse, you know, and I would always carry this little comic book in my purse. And I have a bunch of these types of books. Snoopy Come Home. I always loved Peanuts. A Boy Named Charlie Brown. And I didn't want to pull them all out, but I've got quite a bit of the book versions of these. There's I didn't bring it, but there's also the one that's Thanksgiving, Happy Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown. I stole that from a teacher, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the big, I don't remember what happened, but I actually stole it. Stole it. And she couldn't find that book nowhere all that time I had taken it. And, you know, and I never gave it back to her. I took it to read and never gave it back to her. But she done passed away now, and the school isn't even there. The school is gone. You know, it was knocked down. I don't know. Someone said it was knocked down, but it could still be there. Who knows? But, yeah. I was in elementary school and I took that Thanksgiving Charlie Brown book. Oh my gosh. You know, oh my Lord, I was a mess. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you took the time to watch this video and go back in time with me, I thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. I love sharing bits and pieces. Slapped ham. Oh my God. Hold on, guys. Let me pause this. You know how you be watching something and something else will just come on. But anyway, I want to thank you for allowing me to share little bits and pieces of my life with you. And it means a lot to me. You know, I don't have any girlfriends. I don't have any boyfriends. I don't have any children or kids or anybody running around. It's just me and my husband and you know, and our cat. And of course, you know, we lost one. So, you know, to be able to just pop on here and just start sharing to you, it's good therapy for me. It is. It's good therapy for me. And I thank you for it. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I hope that you all have a wonderful Friday. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.